It is just a way to say thank you from this country to all of the many Spanish speaking countries that have contributed through immigration. The idea is to celebrate the contribution of Latinos. Yesterday, the event that Mayor Eric Adams had was in celebration of the Hispanic community in New York City. Is something that happens every year. It was Hispanic Heritage Week, and
Okay.
through the time, it
Okay.
evolved into a month. What I try to do whenever I do something as a district director from the office of State Senator Jessica Ramos, what I try to do is um, to inspire. I thought that as soon as I was coming out of the airport, I thought that I was gonna see the big buildings, and there were no big buildings. Right after high school, I only spent maybe 6 months in training, and right after those 6 months, I was in Afghanistan in
Oh
war.
yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, from Maine to Florida, from New York to Los Angeles, each and every city, each and every corner of this great country, and each and every neighborhood, you will find Spanish community somebody somewhere. This is a great pleasure for me to celebrate National Hispanic Heritage Month with wonderful guest who has been serving community since a decade from Peru to the United States of America, serving United States military for 9 years and engaging to the community activities as a community organizer and the district leader of Democratic Party for District 13, which represents Jackson Heights and the surrounding area. Once again, I like to say Jackson Heights is the most diverse location in this planet Earth. Let me welcome a wonderful personality, Stefano Navarro. Thank you so much for joining us, Stefano. It's a great pleasure. And first of all, congratulations for National Hispanic Heritage Month. Happy Heritage Month.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you so much for the invitation. I am here to talk about Hispanic Heritage Month and
Yeah.
whatever you may ask about the Hispanic community that lives in Queens and New York City or New York State as a whole.
Ask you something about the importance or significance of the National Hispanic Heritage Month. How you would like to explain it?
Yes, well, it's a celebration to where this country, the whole government, right, celebrates Hispanic he- heritage. As you may know, the United States before it became what it is now was before that, it was the land of Native Americans and also Mexicans. Mexico went up to half of what the country it is right now. So a lot of the culture, especially in the southern states of the United States, have a lot of Mexican culture and heritage. And through time, right, we have been celebrating the contributions that different parts of Spanish speaking countries, right, Hispanic
Yeah.
countries, add to the life, to the fabric of this country. It is just a way to say thank you from this country to all of the many Spanish speaking countries that have contributed through immigration.
Yeah.
Um,
One more thing I would like to add here, Stefano. Like, what
Mhm.
is the major idea of celebrating Spanish National Heritage Month?
The idea is to celebrate the contribution of Latinos, of Hispanic culture in the United States. As you may know, there we are like 60% almost. That's a
Yeah.
lot of the population of the United States, and that includes the children, like the first generation, the second generation, right?
Yes.
Um, There is a large amount of people in this country that speak Spanish. It's not
Yeah.
the national language. I don't think it will be the national language, but a large
But the
amount of
larger number
people
of people speaking this language.
speak Spanish here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as you mentioned that this the major idea of National Hispanic Heritage Month is to celebrate the contribution, to honor the contribution of that community contributing to
Hmm.
this great country, United States of America. And for my audience, I would like to mention that the National Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrating from September 15 to October 15
October
this year.
15th.
And what I would like to request you, tell me, is that the same date or time frame, or there is something differences each year, like 15 September to October 15 in 2022, or every year the same time frame?
Every year is the same time. It started in the 60s, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's something that is still kind of fairly new. It's just been only like
You
60
mean you
years.
mean
And
it started in 60s, means 1960?
yeah, 1960s. And it was only for a week. It was Hispanic Heritage Week. And
Okay.
through the time, it
Okay.
evolved into a month,
Yeah.
right? But to be honest, the Hispanic community knows that it's not just a month, right? That we celebrate our heritage every single month, every single day, every single year, because we contributed a lot to this country, not only economically but also socially, right? Culturally. So there's a lot of different factors that the Hispanic community gives back to this country.
Yeah. And it's my great pleasure that I have been, hanging around with the Hispanics people since I came to the United States of America. It's a great privilege being in the New York City, especially in the Queens,
New York
because
City.
as I
Yeah,
mentioned, in each and every corner, the restaurant, bar, or grocery store, or in the
yeah.
school, colleges, train,
Mhm.
or the public transportation, park, everywhere we met this kind of people. And I would like to salute you guys because you guys are truly humble, dedicated, friendly, and very outstanding character to help the community. I'm very
Thank you.
honored with this community that we have around us. Steph.
Yes, I love Queens. Queens is one of those communities where you can hear almost every other single country here. There are 220 languages speaking just in Queens, which is the largest in the whole world. So
220 languages. Oh my God, it's
220
a really,
languages you
yeah,
can hear
yeah,
speaking the people of Queens. Yes, that's a
oh,
lot.
of course. And you are serving as a district leader. I will come to that point a little bit later, but let me know more about the Hispanic Heritage Month. What are the program scheduled for a month? Like I saw you yesterday when this event started in September 15, you were with the Mayor Eric Adam having some outstanding event and giving speeches, celebrating with some other people. Probably that was the inauguration of this month. I don't know. You will tell it and how
Yeah.
it gonna be ending, and what are the things that on your bucket list during this month?
Hmm. Yeah, so the city and the state has different types of event that it it focuses in the Hispanic community, right? Like yesterday, the event that Mayor Eric Adams had was in celebration of the Hispanic community in New York City. Is something that happens every year, and the city has different types of events in order to commemorate the same period of time every year from September 15 until October 15, right? And the state also do the same. That that Governor Hochul also is going to do some type of event with Hispanic leaders. And what we are going to do here in Queens on October 22nd, which we had to move it outside of the frame of what is the Hispanic Heritage Month, right? We are going to do an Andean Summit which is gonna try to connect the indigenous communities from South America
Oh.
with city resources, with the
Mhm.
state resources. On October the 8th, which is inside the frame of the Hispanic Heritage Month,
Yeah.
we are gonna be having what we call the New York Land, which is an event to highlight and to connect indigenous community from North and Central America with city and state resources. So we encompass as a whole all the indigenous community from the Americas, right? We take
Yeah.
care of the North and Central America, and then we try to do the same for the South American indigenous community that live inside Queens. Like I said before, we speak 220 languages, and many of those languages are indigenous languages. So
Of
this
course.
year we are trying to focus on indigenous communities as well, because Hispanic Heritage Month, even though talks about Latinos,
Right.
sometimes it just doesn't include indigenous communities because they don't speak Spanish. They
So,
speak a native language, right?
native
But
language.
they're
Yes.
part of our country too.
Yeah, Stefano, here I would like to clear on some ideas like Spanish. We
Hmm.
say Spanish, some people say Hispanic. That's the same thing or different, or maybe you said that Latino community, maybe
Yes.
other
Hmm.
Colombian or wherever. What exactly the Hispanic word represents and how
Okay.
many subdivisions if under this umbrella or not? Please, can you tell me detail? Because most
Of
of the
course.
people from different part of the world, they understand Spanish community.
Yes.
Spanish, not
So
Hispanic. But in
Hispanic
the
is
United States, Hispanic is really a significant word. What is the major idea of this word and what this represents exactly, please?
hmm Yeah, so Hispanic comes from a term that the president of the United States gave to the Latino or Hispanic community. He gave that term to our community because we speak Spanish. So Hispanic comes from like the person speaks Spanish, right? That the person was colonized by Spain, right? So that is the term of Hispanic, which includes Spain, even though Spain is from Europe, right? So all of the countries that speak Spanish, according to the United States, are Hispanic. But that does not include the countries in South America where they don't speak Spanish, they speak Portuguese, right? So if you encompass the communities that speak another languages like French, like that speak also Portuguese, that would be the Latino community, right? Because you uh, encompass all of the countries that are from Latin America, right? And Latin, Spanish comes from Latin and also Portuguese, right? And also, if you go to Italy, Italians also used to speak Latin, right? So Latin encompasses all of the languages that, um, with time and through history, turn into something else, like Spanish, like Portuguese, and Italian. If you try to learn those three languages, they're very similar. They just sound differently. And there are many words that are not the same, but they have a lot of words that are really the same. And also Arabic, right? Arabic and Spanish are also very similar in some words. So
Yeah,
that's why Hispanic and Latinos is the same, but it's more inclusive to the non-Spanish speaking countries and communities, right? And there, besides that, there is indigenous communities, right? That
indigenous
also
community. Yeah,
have not been included into Latinos, have not been included into what is Hispanics, right?
mhm.
For some reason, there is no word that encompass all of our communities from
Yeah,
Latin America, because through history, right?
yeah,
Whoever is in charge of the system
Yeah.
separates us by some sort of way.
Yeah. So one thing that I just mentioned, the first Latino president, Richard Nixon,
Hmm.
um, had run a election campaign that is called a Hispanic
It was
strategy.
Nixon then. It was Nixon.
Richard
Yes.
Nixon, right? And
Yeah.
he is the first Latino president in the United States of America as well. This is very significant to know. And we were discussing about the events that we were celebrating during a month. As you said, some elected officials or government offices are organizing the events. Are there any events that the community itself organizing? I know this community is very rich in culture and tradition,
Hmm.
and art and music as well. So, do you have any understanding that community level are organizing such event in their one across?
Yes, I know many organizations that do their own type of celebration, right?
Mhm.
I know that Elmhurst Hospital is also doing an event for all of the doctors, all of the nurses, all of the people actually that work at the hospital. I know that schools in classes also teachers have their own type of celebrations, right?
Mhm.
And I know that, for example, if you are familiar with some of the organizations in the area, I know the Voces Latinas, I know the Make the Road, which are big organizations here. I know the La Jornada also. They do their own types of celebrations. I know that community boards also do some types of celebratory events at this time. I know that community board number three, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to do something too for the Spanish speaking community. So yeah, there are many events. You just gotta Google them, my brother. You know, like anybody that would like to go to
Yeah,
any of these
I will.
events.
I enjoy the
Yeah,
concert especially because yeah, I know the wonderful singers are there, great dancers, and
yes,
beautiful music.
there is a
I've been
block
there many
party.
times.
There
Yeah.
is a block party that Assembly Woman Catalina Cruz
Oh,
is also
nice.
doing in our community. The New Youth Land and the Andean Summit is sponsored and organized by the Office of State Senator Jessica Ramos, from
Mm,
with who I work.
mm.
So that there are many events there that
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So one more thing I would like to add: what other community can learn from this Hispanic community in the United States? Because this, as you said, this is the largest community, around 60% the population in the United States.
Yes.
But there are
One.
a lot of communities from around the all over the world in the United States of America. So, what are the major lessons that we can learn, like from Spanish community to the South Asian community, Korean maybe from European? So much of communities are here.
Mhm.
What lesson can we learn from you from this Hispanic Heritage Month?
Well, what you can learn from Hispanic Heritage Month is that we have fought for this. This was not just given to us. No, nobody said, "Oh, let's just have a month to celebrate Hispanic culture." We fought for this. It was through placing our people in a specific in a specific jobs in a specific places, like being s- the best the best um the best player in baseball, right? The best runner, the best singer, the best group, the best artist. Like we have to claim as a community to the top in order for us to organize ourselves, right,
Mhm.
and demand what we needed. One person that was key to start this was Roberto Clemente, which is a Puerto Rican that was the best baseball player in the world. And the
Oh,
United States went crazy about Roberto Clemente, and there are statues about Roberto Clemente, and there's a lot of history there to learn from Roberto Clemente, which was one of the Hispanics that put the name of Spanish speaking countries, right,
Yes,
out there,
yes, yeah,
right? But we went through a lot of racisms too, right?
yeah.
It was
I
not,
understand.
it
I
was
can.
not easy. I don't think it was easy for any community when it comes to the old years, right? The
Yeah,
United States has been doing a lot better when it comes to racism and open up spaces for immigrants like us, right? But the job is not done. There's a lot to do, and what we can learn is that once we united, once we demanded, once we requested something that it's for us, right? Because we as a community, we also pay taxes. We also do business here. We also put a lot of
yeah,
money, a lot of
yeah.
stuff into the fabric of this community. That's when we're gonna get results. So
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
what we can.
Stefano, one thing I'd like to request you, tell me something about the connection with the South Asian community of the Hispanic community. Because as we are discussing here about the Queens, South Asian community is growing in a number, really fastest growing, one of the fastest growing community in the United States, especially in the Queens. The number is really higher now. So, do you have any program or any connection, or have you been doing something together with this community?
Yes. Listen, South Asian community is it's so vivid. It's so colorful. It's so gentle. It's so warm, right? When I was working for the mayor's office of immigrants affairs, I was able to help some of my colleagues that are South Asians to have a town hall for the South Asian community, right? As a district director for the office of State Senator Jessica Ramos, I work with South Asian community. Our office is right in front of 74th Street and Roosevelt. So I know of Diversity Plaza. Diversity Plaza and the whole street is full of South Asian community, right? It's full of culture, so rich. The food is so delicious.
Have you tested any food yet? Have you tested any South
I
Asian?
don't remember the name, but I love momos and
Oh, that's typically from Nepal. That's a
yeah,
wonderful.
specifically from Nepal. I can recall. I'm not really sure if samosas are from Nepal.
Samosa, yeah, yeah, but South Asian, that's from Indian dish. Okay,
Yeah, well, I mean I love
that's
samosas.
all from the Indian subcontinent. That's
Right,
wonderful.
right, right.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
But I love South Asian community.
Do you remember
When
any restaurant that you hanged out?
Any restaurant? I don't remember the name, my friend. I don't
Yeah,
remember the name, but I know it's on 74 Street. If you're the owner,
yeah,
and
I can
you
understand
did
better that
this,
you tasted
it's
momo
very
means you
huge.
are, yeah, you ate momo means you are very familiar with our dish as well. This is wonderful.
Yes, yes. And what I want to say is that if anybody from the South Asian community wants to create some type of event in order to connect their community to city
Yeah,
resources, to state
yeah.
resources, they can come to my office at the office of State Senator Jessica Ramos, and we can help them out to connect them.
Let's switch the topic that you are a district leader as well that represents District 13. As already I mentioned, that's represent Jackson Heights, Elmhurst, East Elmhurst, Woodside, and the surrounding area where large number of immigrants from different part of the world, and you are the leader of there. So, what do you think your responsibility is to helping them? Just being a leader is not a job done.
I just consider myself as somebody that really care, right? So what I try to do whenever I do something as a district director from the office of State Senator Jessica Ramos, what I try to do is um, to inspire, right? I think a leader, if I am one or not, I don't call myself that, but I try to inspire others to do something good for the community, um, only through my actions, right? Because people learn more from what they see that from what they're being told.
What makes you to join this career, politics or any of
Well,
community?
to be honest, I come from a country that it's poor. It is poor and it has not too many opportunities for families that don't have money.
Yeah,
So when I came to the United States and I saw through my military career, I went to many different countries. I saw that many countries were like mine, where the majority of people that don't have wealth is neglected, right? And that inspired me to try to do something about it, try to be the person that listens to
yeah,
the people that it's neglected by its
no,
own government, right? In order to try to have a better life for them, try to
of
do
course,
better for them.
of
That's
course.
that's that's the only thing that I'm trying to
So,
do. I'm not
how
trying
old?
to listen to people.
What was your age when you entered to the United States as an immigrant?
I came to this country when I was 15 years old
15 years old. So you have bunches of beautiful childhood memories in Peru.
in Peru.
Is that
Yes,
nearby Lima or somewhere you grew up?
Lima. Yes, Lima.
Lima. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a nice, beautiful city. I appreciate.
It
And
is. It is.
so probably it was really not an easy day for you initially in the United States of America. It was really
Oh,
hard
of
for any
course
immigrant,
not.
right? How you like to recall your days of struggle?
Oh, I can tell you that when I moved to this country, I thought that as soon as I was coming out of the airport, I thought that I was gonna see the big buildings, and there were no big buildings. I
Yeah.
came with shorts and with a regular shirt, and it was March, so it was very cold, and I had no idea that a country could be that cold. It was my first time outside of my country,
Oh.
and I experienced the winter here, and it was terrible. When I joined the school, they
Hmm.
dropped me down one whole grade because I didn't speak the language. So instead of starting as a junior, I started as a freshman as because I didn't speak the language. So going through school without knowing the language, I had to learn quickly. And when I turned 18, I was already in the US Army. So, and I was already going to training in Georgia where almost nobody speaks Spanish. And right after Georgia, I was only there for 9 weeks. And then I went to another training in Missouri, another part where people just don't happen to speak Spanish very often, right? And I stayed in Missouri for 6 weeks. And right after that, I was in Afghanistan. So right after high school, I only spent maybe 6 months in training, and right after those 6 months, I was in Afghanistan in
Oh,
war.
yeah. So, in conclusion, what I'd like to tell you is from Lima to the United States of America, you experience so much in your life. United States Army, different part of the world, serving or carrying the U.S. flag, and finally you ended up as a politician, serving community, representing your community into the national, international level. It's just something huge that someone expected in their life, in your age especially. You are the fortunate one.
Not at all. I don't think nobody on my family expected anything that I'm doing right now, especially in this country, right? I come from a part of the world where the expectation of youth, because I was 15 years of age, it was either to end up in jail or end up dead or end up like maybe doing drugs or something,
Yeah,
right? I come from a very dangerous part of Lima,
kind of it.
so I'm still struggling,
Yeah.
uh, but I am very thankful to all of the opportunities that this country has given to me, and
I
I
believe that
want
you are one of the happiest person in this planet.
to. I don't know if I am the happiest, but I am happy with what I have. but that
Yes.
doesn't mean that I am gonna stop at that.
No, you
I
should
think
not.
I want more, not just for me, but for my community.